Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelley. Today's program, we're going to be highlighting two very unique and two very different events. We're going to be talking about IconiCon, the first of its kind here in the city of Suffolk, and the second annual Suffolk Heart Chase. So stay tuned, we'll have all the details. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're talking about a very unique event coming to the city of Suffolk, a first-time event here. It's called IconiCon. Now we're going to explain what it is, what it's all about, and the two great organizations that are behind it. And to talk about this event, we have two great guests today. We have Andrew Robb, who's with the Tidewater Alliance, the Vice President of the organization, and Ardith Ohka, who's a Teen Service Supervisor with Suffolk Public Library. Thank you both for being with us today. All right, I say IconiCon. What is it? Tell me all about it.
Well,
that's behind the madness.
IconiCon is basically just a free one-day convention that's put on by Suffolk Public Library and the Tidewater Alliance.
Okay. And it'll be held at the North Suffolk Library, is that correct?
Saturday, May 7th at the North Suffolk Library from 11 to 4. And it's an all-ages free event. And it's geared towards science fiction, fantasy, Star Wars, superheroes, comic books, Doctor Who, anything that's a little bit geeky.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, it's certainly everything you mentioned right there is very popular these days, even more so, whether you're looking at film or graphic novels or whatever the category may be. But the event, is it going to be inside or outside?
We're hoping it's going to be both.
Okay.
So we really want great weather. We're hoping to have, we have, I think, 16 vendors and a food truck, and we're going to have the library to go vehicle with video gaming in it, hopefully all outside.
Yes.
And then inside we're going to have events, panels, tabletop gaming, crafts, superhero story time, superhero training for the young ones, hopefully a bounce house and a children's area outside as well. So.
Very good. Now, how did this idea come about? I mean, we have the Suffolk Public Library, the Tidewater Alliance. How'd y'all come together to make this event a reality?
Well, every year the Tidewater Alliance puts on GalactiCon, which is with the in association with the Virginia Beach Public Libraries.
Okay.
And this year there was a little question as to whether or not that was going to happen.
Okay.
So I started early on in the year messaging the different libraries in the area to hopefully just kind of carry on the torch of GalactiCon wherever it was.
Yes.
So as it so happens, GalactiCon is going to be going on anyway.
Okay.
So rather than not do anything, we decided to branch out and do a bunch of additional conventions in the area.
Correct.
And Suffolk kind of always gets left out, so it was really cool that that Ardith sent me a message back, and we figured, why not?
Very good.
In December, we had done Lightsaber Academy with the Tidewater Alliance at the North Suffolk Library, and it was hugely successful, and we had a lot of great response from that, so we just kind of wanted to take that and branch out from it.
You mentioned Lightsaber Academy. Now, that is also going to be part of this event as well, to a certain degree.
Correct.
So, explain, obviously everyone knows Star Wars, everyone understands what a lightsaber is all about, but explain to us what goes on with the training, and I'll ask you, is it safe?
Oh, absolutely it is. There are 2 or 3 of us that are real-world martial artists. I've taken Iaido, Kendo, a few other martial arts as well, and the head instructor for the Lightsaber Academy actually is an active martial arts instructor in Portsmouth. So we got together and decided, well, you know, it would be great if we could combine all the teaching of martial arts and the, you know, getting kids out and getting them to move, and well, for that matter, their parents too. And the fun of Star Wars, and it just took off, and it's just gone crazy since then.
Very good. Now, the day of the event, in addition to Lightsaber Academy and everything, contests, are going to be anything going on in that regard, and what are we talking about for that? And obviously, I'm sure you got some pretty cool prizes too.
Yeah, we're having a fan art contest. It's called Attack of the Fan Art. Entries for that are due April 30th, and you can drop them off at any library. And there's the 3 age groups. And we're going to have judges pick their favorite from each age group, and then also we're having voting for People's Choice.
Okay.
And that's going to start on May 3rd. The art's going to be displayed at the North Suffolk Library up through the day of the event. Okay. We are also having a costume contest, again, for 3 age groups. It's 0 to 11, 12 to 17, and 18 and up.
Okay.
So definitely come out in costume. And you don't have to enter the costume contest, but we would love to have lots of people in costume. And we're also having like a little bingo game, so you can go throughout the con and try to find people in a top hat or someone with anime hair and different things. There'll be little prizes for that too.
Very cool. Now, as far as, again, what are the hours for the event?
11 to 4 on Saturday.
11 to 4. That's a lot of stuff crammed in that period of time, isn't it?
It is,
I
yeah.
mean, it's going to be a pretty active event.
Definitely.
As far as, again, I think you started, the initial conversation for this started, you said about December or so, give or take? Or that was when the Lightsaber Academy was.
That was when the
So,
Lightsaber
yeah.
Academy was, yeah.
But to put something like this together, I mean, and you talked about all the vendors, and we certainly want to give them their recognition as well. So would there be things, you know, for sale as well as part of this? I mean, they won't, I mean, they're not just there to represent, but they're also there to.
Correct.
Okay, good deal. So, but how does this event come together in the sense of, I mean, all the different entities, because it's not something you just snap your fingers and it just shows up.
No.
Obviously, you have said you have some experience with these events before. You talked about the
Yes.
one in Virginia Beach, so.
I'm going to say it's probably been, what, 2, maybe 3 months worth of planning,
Okay.
Yeah,
give or take?
pretty much since the day we decided to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I've been a co-chair on big events too, and I've worked in several other library systems, and we have a lot of contacts just through the work that we've been doing. So we just kind of put the word out, and it's been amazing. We've had a lot of positive community reaction,
Right.
and lots of vendors interested, and it's been great.
Well, we certainly know a lot about Suffolk Public Library, but Tidewater Alliance, just talk a little bit more about your organization and kind of how long y'all been around and some of the things, other things that you do. Take a deep breath and let's go ahead.
Well, the Tidewater Alliance has been around, well, for a very long time. I'm not even really sure when we were founded.
Sure.
But we started out as very specifically a Star Wars fan group, and for a lot of years, that's exactly what we did.
Right.
We were only Star Wars. We focused on costuming for Star Wars, and not everybody really wants to do that. So what ended up happening is it ended up being like the same 6 people meeting once a month, just talking about Star Wars.
Right.
And after a while, that gets a little boring. So when Jason, who's the president, Jason Tuttle, and I got voted in, we decided we were going to branch out a little bit and basically rebrand the Tidewater Alliance as a multi-fandom fan club. So we basically don't care what form of geekdom you like. We just want you to come out, have fun, join our geeky little family, do lightsabers, do trivia, we do game days, we do, oh, you name it. We've even done crafts and so on, where everybody brings a little craft and we do little stations.
Right.
So it's just growing in to be a community of people that just want to come together and have some fun and not worry about the troubles of everyday life.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, I mean, it sounds like, again, you know, starting with a great starting point with Star Wars and then branching out, and the fact that this event really has the potential to really continue to grow. And I mean, you talked about the events you've had in Virginia Beach. What have you seen as far as success stories coming out of there? And again, I know I've obviously covered all the different genres that you're talking about when you talk about fantasy and everything.
GalactiCon is so big that I think we actually had to put vendors on the back burner.
Okay.
We have vendors indoors and out.
Sure.
I think last year we even had a metalsmith outdoors.
Really cool.
So I mean, it's a great mix of people. We have a gentleman that comes down and does like a photo booth with, you know, he'll put your pictures on whatever background you want.
Right.
And then the large community room there, we can fill that up with vendors very easily. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And Virginia Beach Library is pretty good about it too, because they just give us one whole wing of the library to kind of do whatever we need.
Cool. Well, we're looking hopefully to capitalize on that here in Suffolk as well.
Absolutely.
With IconiCon. And now, as far as the title, where did the title come from?
We had a big brainstorming session. One of our employees, Corey, came up with a really good list from, and a lot of them are taken because there's so many library cons and other cons. So we had this big list, and we were, you know, saying them, looking at them, drawing them, and we were like, IconiCon, I like it. It's like catchy, It's iconic, so we ended up sticking with that one.
Very good. Well, I know we just have a couple minutes left, so again, let's hit the highlights again. IconiCon coming on Saturday, May 7th, North Suffolk Library, and again, the time's 11 to 4. Very good. Free and open to the public.
Definitely.
Obviously, you talked about food vendors that'll be there, and also you have vendors as far as merchandise and everything else. So obviously, if you want to purchase anything, there'll be a cost for that. But as far as just to come, see what's going on, the contests, are they all free? So again, no charge for that. But if someone's watching the event, maybe they haven't been to a con type event before and are thinking, this might be the one I want to start out with. I'd like to open it up to both of you to kind of give that sales pitch, if you will, to get them to come out on the 7th of May.
Well, if you're looking to just come out and have fun, it doesn't really matter if you're into Star Trek or Star Wars or fantasy. What you will find is a group of a bunch of people just there to have fun, be it in costume or plain clothes, whatever. It's just a very fun thing. And what's more so is you're coming out to the library, so you always have that too.
That's true.
The event is free and for all ages, and there's stuff going on throughout the whole library. We're taking to whole building, so there's definitely something for everyone throughout the whole day. So it's a really great starter con if you're not quite sure you want to, really commit to going to something huge where a lot of the people might be, a little bit intimidated by something like that. This is a really great way to start out. And there's a lot for really hardcore people too. So we're trying to get the whole range in there.
Very good. We're looking forward to IconiCon coming to the city of Suffolk, North Suffolk Library, I should say, Saturday, May the 7th, and want to thank both the Suffolk Public Library and the Tidewater Alliance for everything you've done to make this event happen. Looking forward to being a really big success this year, so thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will have more on the scene when we return. Welcome back to On the Scene. On today's segment, we're going to be talking about the Suffolk Heart Chase, the event coming back to Suffolk for the 2nd year in a row. And to talk about this topic, which is a fundraiser for the American Heart Association, we have our mayor, Linda Johnson, who is heading up the executive challenge, I should say. We also have the chairperson for the event, Ray Batton. So thank you both for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, when we talk about Heart Chase, what are we talking about? What is going to go on to help, again, raise money for the American Heart Association? What happens the day of the event?
It's a lot of fun to start out with, and it's a little different than most of the things that we go through. You hear a lot about races and different things. While we do some walking and some running, it's all really more of an obstacle course and a lot more fun than that. Ray's team was the winners last year, so he could tell you the tricks to winning of it. But it's really a lot of fun, and it is a unique event.
And I think the nice thing is kids, people, adults of all ages can do it. We have folks in our office that didn't want to do it because they thought, well, it's going to be too strenuous or it's going to be too much. But then they came along and hung out, and you know what? I think anybody of any age can do it.
So again, I think the team element is the key here, correct?
Correct.
But can you participate as an individual? Can you sign up and then get assigned to a team or possibly participate that way?
You have to have 2 to 5 members to your team.
So not a whole lot there.
No, it's not a whole lot, and you also have to have an app. You have to know how to do it with a smartphone. So that is a little challenging to some of us. I had a little issue with that, but it's very easy. You get one really tech-savvy person on your team, and you're good to go.
With extra batteries and an extra phone, maybe.
Absolutely.
Now again, all the funds, of course, are going to go to benefit the American Heart Association. And when we're talking about this, of course, we're trying to make, it's not just to raise funds, it's also to bring about awareness as well. And again, I believe, strokes are like the #1 killer as far as in the United States as far as cause of death, and the fact of that, and just talking about heart disease in general. And I don't think there's really a lot of information out there. Sometimes people think about things when we talk about the American Heart Association in one way, but really there's a lot of information. I'm sure they have booths and things that are set up out there to share information with people on this. So when we talk about this, just to the two of you, what does this mean for each of you when we talk about the Heart Chase and your own personal experience as far as working with the American Heart Association?
For me, I guess it goes back somewhat to my dad. I lost my dad very suddenly to a heart attack, and I think the awareness issue, there's so many things today that you can do inexpensively, or even free. There's a lot of things that you can go and have checks and see where you are. A lot of us don't even know the numbers, so to speak, when we talk about our blood pressure, our cholesterol, all those issues. I've become a lot more health aware in the last couple of years, so I know how important it is as we age. And also I think we need to understand it's not just age too. There are a lot of young people actually that have heart conditions that we lose young. So it is what they call the silent killer. We don't know necessarily things that going on inside of us, and I think it's very important for us to find out, because there's so much you can do today. There's so many things that can stop that from happening.
And as Linda said, it's more about awareness. There's tons. I think we even had a CPR set up there. We all did some CPR, that kind of thing, and they make it fun. And I guess talking to the people out there, that's, you know, come out, you'll enjoy it. It's not a carnival atmosphere, but it's pretty close. We had a blast.
Right.
And for the reason we're doing it, I think everybody in life, as you get later in life, and Linda and I have talked about this before, it's giving back. It's that opportunity to give back to your community, give back to your city, but more important, possibly help a friend.
Correct.
In a heart disease or what have you.
And it sounds like this is a very active event, but not to the point, as you said, as far as able to be overly strenuous. It's not going to, wear you out or anything like that. But I think when we talk about, heart disease and things, I think one of the big things is being active. And it is moving around and getting that exercise in. Certainly, watching what you eat, and everything comes into play to kind of make the package that you want to get together on that. But activity, I think, is one of the key components when we talk about heart disease and prevention.
There's no question, and I think that we have a responsibility to the younger generation coming along, I think, to say, it is so simple. It is as simple as getting up and walking and moving, and it's something that you just need to become aware of. And I think this event, as Ray said, you're going to see children, you're going to see older people. You can do as little or as much as your team needs you to do. Right. So it's not one of these things that you're going to leave with a medal around your neck and, I did it, I did it. It's more about being a part of something. Sure. And again, it's just a feel-good event. It really is.
You talked about the fact of getting the message across to people of all ages, and you talked about the young, and of course you mentioned earlier about apps and smartphones. I mean, I know you'll see a lot of younger people walking around these days. The head is buried here, not really paying attention. Granted, they're moving. That's a good thing. Right. But sometimes you get a little stagnant with that. But it's certainly, again, it's maybe putting that device down sometimes and getting out, just like you said, simple as taking a walk.
It is.
And doing very simple things. You see everybody with the fitness bands on, that they're monitoring what they're doing and keeping up with that. And again, that's that knowledge component, realizing how many steps you do take in a day.
Absolutely.
It can be as simple as that. So,
if everybody looked at this and said, well, I'm going to take my family out today, it's a family day.
Sure.
It's a chance for you to bring your child, your grandparents, whoever, bring the family out. You will have a blast. There's food at the end. There's all kinds of stuff to do. You'll meet a lot of great people throughout the walk. Like Linda said, there's no real competition in the sense that you're going to beat each other's throats. You're just going to have a good time.
You have costumes. You can make it as much fun as you want. You can look as silly as you want. It really is just a fun day. And as Ray said, food, good times. At the end of the day, there will be a prize, which Ray can talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, with the Executive Challenge, we'd like to encourage all businesses, and I'm assuming it's mostly businesses at this sense, to come out. And with the Executive Challenge, basically the one that ends up with the most fundraising, and goes through the event and finishes. We're going to give away a Tide suite that'll be fully catered to the person that raises the most money. And it's a very nice suite at the Tides. It's one of the ones that's up on the very top, and usually it's catered pretty well. The food's good. So.
Now, last year, I believe you had the winning team. So how do you go about winning this event, so to speak? Not to say we want to make it all about competition, but certainly in a healthy sense.
How do you win? Just, I guess, pull your people together and just work as a team, because teamwork is involved in it. Sure. One person's grabbing the tag numbers, one person's putting them in the phones.
And a few jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Run through a few tires. Just a lot of different things.
I don't remember the one. There was one that was really that we had to dance or something.
Yeah, there's some silliness.
A lot of the guys struggle on that one, and I did too. But I'm glad there was no cameras there. But bottom line, just come out and have a good time.
Right.
And
now, of course, we're talking about the event. The date is going to be Saturday, June the 4th, and it's going to be at the Sports Medicine Orthopedic Center on Burnett's Way. So again, we have a great location for that. Is that where it was last year?
That's exactly where it was.
So again, the venue is set, and I would assume, do they change sort of what events and things are happening over the course of the challenge every year, or you kind of know what's kind of coming, or is it a little unexpected? How does that work?
I don't think we do know for sure. I mean, different sponsors do different things along the way, and they'll have you do some things, like I said, jumping jacks or running through tires, or
but nothing too strenuous.
Nothing too strenuous.
No, but that's the fun part of it. Some of the.
I think the toughest thing we did was, what did we do? Walk on those at the very beginning. There was some little balancing,
boards
to do, and for me that was a little bit of an issue. But
me was the dancing.
Again, some of your team members will pick up what you can't do, and
again,
that's the fun part of it. And getting those things in the app, in that phone, was probably the hardest part for me.
And a lot of the people, I think, the businesses that are involved, that
Right.
we're sponsoring one of the events, they come up with their own challenges.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And we're not making any of them too hard that
Sure.
a person couldn't do it. You
Right.
try to make it fun related to your
course.
business. We're still trying to figure out what ours is going to be, but to be continued, I guess.
Got it. Okay. Now, of course, people, if they're interested in participating, and I think you said you can have as few as 2 people on a team or a
2 to
group to
5.
participate. Now, you can sign up online, and of course, we'll put that information up there on the screen so people can see where they need to go to do that. But I want to give both of you an opportunity to encourage someone, or if they have a family member or someone, again, whether you've been unfortunately, have to deal with heart disease and that aspect of things, or in general as well. But what would you say to someone that's considering participating and is thinking, well, it sounds like a lot of fun, which it definitely does, and of course it's for a great cause. But getting them to make that final step, click on the button, if you will, I should say, to sign up and participate. What would both of you like to say to people out there that are watching the show to get them to come out there for the Heart Chase?
Well, from the Executive Challenge, I'd like to say that we'd like to outdo what we did last year. We did very well last year. We actually came in with some prizes and awards for the teams. We do have a lot of the repeat teams, and we're just looking to add on to that. It's not too late. I think
Okay,
that's the
very
main
good.
thing. You can register up almost to the very end of it. So I would encourage anyone that just wants to have a good time for a good cause and come out and join us, and we're going to have a fantastic day. At the end of the day, somebody's going to win that great prize, and I believe that evening they'll
goes
be at
that
the Tides
evening,
game
actually.
and,
Okay,
and
yep.
enjoying that. So it's going to be a fantastic day.
Very good.
I guess the biggest thing I'll say is use it as an opportunity to bring your family together, come out, have a good time. I think last year we were number 2. Suffolk was number 2 in the nation.
I believe that's correct.
In the nation,
so.
we want to be number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
We want the folks to come
Sure.
out and help us get there. And it may be a small team that donates $100 or
Correct.
$5, $10.
Right.
Every little bit helps.
Yes.
I think everybody's had tough times these days, but this is a way to come together as a team and as a group, as a community, and give back. So.
And I think the community aspect and the team aspect are 2 of the things that really come out in events like this,
Right.
that show what our community is all about here in Suffolk, and the fact that everybody, a very giving community, a community that wants to come out there and have a lot of fun, which again, if you combine that together, you got a great package to work with right there. But again, so we have the Suffolk Heart Chase, which is coming up on Saturday, June the 4th. Again, you can go online to register, and again, we have 2 experts here that would certainly love to see you out there with your smiling faces and ready to go to try to compete in this event. And again, I want to thank you both for spending time with us today, talk about the Heart Chase, and we look forward to the event again on June the 4th. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Tim.
And that will do it for this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelley. We'll see you next time.